Hi, my name is JS, and I've never done this before, but I'm gonna film something basically for YouTube. I'm looking at the weird place on the camera. Basically, my channel so far has just been basically videos that I do for my agency. I'm a sales rep, sell clothing, surf accessories, a bunch of other stuff, surfboards, wetsuits for a living. But I'm a total gearhead, have been my whole life, and I kind of always wanted to start filming stuff. I follow lots of guys on YouTube that I really like, so this is the first try. Anyway, the plan today is to put cutouts on my Trailblazer SS, and I'll explain a little bit more as we go. But to do that, I got to move my El Camino. It's in the bay spot. I have a pretty nice garage, and I'm very fortunate for that. Built a pretty cool life that I have something like that happening. Anyway, enough yammering. I'm JS, and this is my random first video. So, for anyone interested, this is a Benpack XPR9 LT, I think. It's like they make this lift in a few different versions, obviously, but this one, I had to have the overhead there, and that's why we have the trusses here set up that way. But this one is I bought this one purposely because it works with lowered cars, and I've had a ton of cars. I had a lowered Audi S4 for years. And just in general, I know I'll have more lowered cars. So having a lift that'll work with lowered stuff is awesome. That pan's only there because that thing leaks. And one day, the next video will be putting that in that. But on to what we're here for. So, this Trailblazer. If you know anything about them, they came with a 6-liter Ls2 in them, which was the motor from the C6 Vet. Same years, I believe. So it's an all aluminum Ls2, factory about 400 horsepower. This one is not factory. This was owned and built by an awesome dude who lives in Langley. His name is Ron. He is a commercial tech, so he builds engines for buses and stuff like that. So this thing was well taken care of, and they had a systemic problem from the factory, which was the pan. It's in these bad boys, which you can't see. It's hiding up in there. Had the pickup at the front of the oil pan. So when you accelerated, again, this is from the factory, the pickup could be uncovered, and you could be, spinning bearings over time. And a lot of Trailblazer SS owners dealt with that. It was a big thing where they were killing the motors. So that eventually happened to this, and Ron built instead a stroked 6.6-liter Ls2 with a cam and roller rockers, 1.7 roller rockers, and then he blew the transmission, and the transmission got built too, and it's got a billet input shaft and all the heavier bands that are from the Vets, and anyway, it's ridiculous. It is fast as hell. It's probably sitting in the 500 range wheel, which is ridiculous, and it's all-wheel drive. And it has a full exhaust on it. It has Kooks 1/7/8 long tubes. It has the catted Y pipe, so it does retain both of the small cats, but they're high flow. And then it has a full exhaust from that Y pipe back, which is Magnaflow. The thing sounds awesome when it runs. It does have a little bit of a lope because it has the PCMofNC Rob cam in it. But I am crazy, and it's not lopey enough. I know it can sound way better, and that's why I bought these. So you can see where we're going here. These are Doug's headers cutouts, which are pretty much the only ones you can get that are virtually leak-free because of the nature of the way the plate rotates. It knocks any carbon off of them that may build up over time that would cause the other ones to leak right from the factory or right from the store. So that's what this is going to be. That's what we're trying to accomplish today. Initially, I'm just going to have that turn down on it, but I most likely will take it to an exhaust shop and have them send a pipe all the way back, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So this is where I think this is going to go. And as you can see, I have some things to work out to make that happen. In fact, this, looking at it, makes me kind of want to... no, it's still accomplishable. It's going to be tight. So this is what I'm trying to do. I want to put this there and then have the cutout here so that it bypasses this nice muffler here and a little one on the rear. Ideally, I may end up putting that there, having the cutout here, and then if it gets annoying having it completely under the car like this, which it may, this is more the representation of where it'll be sitting, I may actually bend up this heat shield here and have the exhaust shop build a pipe that goes up through there, wrap it obviously, and have it come out, and maybe even tie it into the over the axle, or just keep going and maybe have it terminate kind of back here, dumping down over the axle, so it's just not as obnoxious potentially, but maybe I won't. So yeah, that's what's going on. So after a little hoeing and humming, I decided that this will work. The initial problem I had with this union that was going to go into the pipe before the muffler is that this squeeze section, just the length of this whole pipe, wasn't leaving enough material here before I hit this curve where the hanger is. So I needed to shorten that piece so that I'm getting, it just fits in here nicer and I don't hit this curve here, and it'll just be a cleaner install. And then once that's done, slide her in there and use the clamps it came with. And if the clamps aren't that great, because I've taken some of that length out of the union or out of the these squeeze joints, then I can always take it off and weld it. But for now I want to do this so I can clock it and figure out where things are going to lay. This is a different problem. This big, beautiful 3-inch, 3-bolt adapter is way, way bigger than the one that is on the cutout. And by that I mean the bolt pattern is much narrower. Like there's smaller distance between these bolts versus our bolt holes versus these two. So I'm gonna have to, once it's kind of all sorted out, I'm actually gonna have to weld that to this. It does say right on it, welding on cutout voids warranty. So I gotta be honest, I'm gonna void the warranty. I kind of doubt it's actually gonna hurt the motor or anything like that, but I'm doing it because I want to install this and I don't want to spend $500 at a shop having them weld on a new collector or whatever. I'm just gonna do it. So here we go. I'm just cutting this little section off my cutting wheel. I used the pipe cutter before, but it was a bit of a bitch. So she slimmed down just a touch. Let's just see what that helps with. So before, oh yeah, that's gonna be good. So now it's just hitting the start of that bend, but it's straight there so I can accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish. And this one, I'm only going to go back to this weld. I estimated based on that because it probably won't fit perfectly flush, obviously. But this looks like it'll work. Cool. So the section is cut right there. And I'm just gonna take this flange off, slide it into the back of that. Then I can slide it on and slide it into place. That way I can actually tack on I can do a test fit and figure out exactly how I have to manipulate or orient the cutouts. So I mocked everything up, and it's time to just weld the flange in place on the union, or on the slip union, and then I'll weld the actual cutout onto the other side of that. So that's what we're gonna weld on right now. Just give it a few tacks, and then I'll lay some bead, and then yeah, we'll time lapse this. So I'm done welding, and I kind of forgot to film this part of the process, but I installed it. She's in there. I don't think it's gonna leak. If it's gonna leak, it's gonna leak here. And I can always hit that with a little plate to stop it, but I don't think it will actually. I think I'll find out when I start it anyway. Because I can start it closed right now, and it'll tell me right away. So hopefully also this gasket doesn't leak, but it should be okay. My hands are a little dirty. So it's all set up. It's oriented where I want it to be. It's coming out. I have a turn down on it so that even though it's sort of directed at the gas tank, which is shielded, it has an additional kind of diverting element, so it's not going to get just smashed when it's blowing flames, which I have a feeling at night, downhill, downshifting, it does pop, and there's probably a few flashes coming out of the exhaust. Anyway, I'm going to bring it down, and I'm going to start it, and bring it back up and check for leaks. Where one of the clamps is, which is easily fixable, but all my welds are solid, so I'm stoked. So we're all good. It is leak-free. I'm dirty. But now I gotta wash my hands, and I have to put in the wiring. So it comes with a wiring loom, and obviously all the connections to get it into some sort of power source. And there's a switch for opening and closing it. And I'm gonna mount that kind of next to the gear shift and send the wire down. I'm not even sure where I'm going to send the wire down. I'm going to do some research on that and I'll figure out where. Should be fun, but it just clicks in when you're done. That just plugs into the cutout, and I can start playing with it. Because I'm OCD about my shop, I'm actually going to put all my tools away now, because I don't really need any of them for this part. So the install's done. It is now later in the day, like after 9. Dad duty calls, and I got everything done. I got everything wired. The cable itself goes through a grommet in the floor, just kind of in that area there. The cable itself is all like weatherproofed and everything, so I just made a little opening through that silicone grommet, went through there, and then it runs along the floor here, up through the trim, and then through the tunnel. It runs through the tunnel, and then inside the console, which I'm just putting back together now, back here there is a cigarette lighter for a 12-volt source. So I actually tapped into that, and there's a fuse in line and everything. And then I just drilled 4 corner holes and then used my Dremel and then a file to make this little inset button. And that is that. And you might be able to hear it actually. So it's closed right now, and I'll play it tomorrow and then edit it into the end of the video. So this is it opening. That's it. And this is it closing. Done. Pretty sweet. I'm stoked. I did test it earlier. Oh, mama, does it sound good, especially with this cam and the stroker. But yeah, you guys will hear that next. So this is just idling with the exhaust fully closed. And I'll open the cutout. What the Trailblazer sounds like inside, just with the full exhaust headers and all that stuff. So the closeout is closed right now, and I'll just do like a mini pull. So it still sounds really good with our the exhaust it has now. But this is what it sounds with the cutout out. I'm going like 110 kilometers an hour, so 70 miles an hour. So cutout's open. It's a little better. I'm going to try and do one more in this tunnel we're going through here in a minute. Cutout's closed right now. I'll trying to leave space in front, but all these people don't really want that to happen. So, I have to say I'm super fucking pumped on this cutout, this Doug's headers cutout. It opens super quick, it closes super quick. I've just been in Vancouver with my family. The car always was really like no drone or anything with the full exhaust in it already. The previous owner, Ron, actually dynamited most of the interior too, so it's just like a really nice driver. And that was the point of this, is that I didn't want... I've had so many cars with super loud exhaust and straight piped, and I've had every iteration. High flow cats, no cats, take one resonator out, you name it. I've had turbo, I've had V8s, all that shit. This is the most mild-mannered, just sort of like cruising around car, even with the cam, even with all the power, because of all the things he did to make it a nice, calm driver. But I wanted to have the option to be a hood. Basically, simple as that. And whew, does it ever sound good. This motor, I think it sounded good from the factory, but with the cam, with the cam, the long tubes, the Magnaflow that's on it, it sounds great even when you romp at it. But with the cutouts, with the cutout on or open, oh my god, it's the best sounding car I've ever had. So it's up there with all the best that it is definitely the fastest car I've ever had, and probably the most comfortable. And the AC works, and it's full leather and power everything, and the kids in the back, and it's like, it's awesome. I can run my business and I can have fun at the same time. So this is what the dad rod should be, and I think that's what a lot of guys call these, the ultimate dad rod. Yeah, super pumped. Thanks for watching.